as far as the technology and kind of where that comes from with me, I'm a closet nerd, right? I love anything.
I don't think there's anything.
I
in the
think it's in the closet. There's
I
nothing
think
in the closet, Jeff. Are you kidding?
The Toe Trend Podcast. Dynamic conversations with industry experts and special guests. Featuring your hosts, Shelli Hawkins and Dennis McGowan. Brought to you by Atura.
Welcome back. We are now on episode 5. I can't believe we've made it this far already. I feel like we just started doing this last week. But we are the Toe Trend Podcast. I am your host, Dennis McGowan, here with
Shelli Hawkins. Great to see everybody and hear everybody.
And we've got a very, very special guest, Mr. Jeff Poquette of the former Toe Business Podcast. Jeff, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I'm a little rusty, so bear with me today, right?
We have missed the soothing sounds of your voice on the airwaves for months now.
We have.
Too nice.
Where are you sitting today with that wood behind you? You look like you're in a sauna. Are you in a sauna?
No, that's a good idea, though. I could probably do that.
I love the sauna. So I'm jealous right now.
Nah, this is just my house.
Fantastic. In Georgia, or where are you?
Yeah, Georgia. Yeah, in Georgia now, heading to Vermont Monday. So we'll be back up there and see how good that weather is.
Love that for
the
you.
only place I hear where any mountains got snow at all this year. That's what I've been hearing.
Yep. Out west is sucking wind this year. It's the worst snowfall in history.
Wow. The place to be for our skiers is Vermont, apparently.
You got it. Come on.
And towers.
So Jeff, that for those of our listeners that might not know who you are, why don't you go ahead and give them a quick introduction here, and we'll talk about who you are.
I am Jeff Poquette. I started towing in 1989 in Connecticut. 93, I moved to Georgia. I tried leaving the industry for like a year and a half at one point back in the mid 90s and got sucked right back in again. And actually started working for Southside Wrecker in Atlanta in 2003, and in 2008, a friend and I were able to purchase the company, and here we are. What's that? 18 years later,
wow.
Something like that. So yeah, here we are. So towing in Georgia since 1993. So I've been stuck in this industry for quite a while now, but I love it.
Stuck. How about we say you've enjoyed the industry since
I have
then?
loved the industry. 93, yeah. But
he's been working in it since 93. Enjoyed it maybe for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks have been great.
You got it. Short memories help sometimes.
Jeff is actually only 19 years old.
Yep. And then most recently, one of the hosts of Toe Business Podcast for 6.5 years. So that just kind of went away, kind of ended towards the end of last year. I can't really say it's gone. Like in my head, I feel like it's still living on and might continue. There's been several, Brad McIntosh, my co-host for all those years. There's been several days that I sit at my desk thinking about calling him and saying, let's do a show. So maybe not as a regular thing, but I think you'll probably hear from us again at some point, I would think.
Yeah. There were 2 shows that were incredibly impactful to me.
Was it the one you were on and the one I was on?
Absolutely not. One was, although that was fun. A little self-promotion, Mr. McGowan. One was,
what I'm here for.
And I think early on you interviewed Sam Johnson and talked about his journey. Loved that one. And I probably have listened to that one 5 times. It's just so incredible to hear his story. The second one was with Lynn Hurst.
Oh, wow.
And when he went through the tornado in Birmingham, Alabama, and the Buffalo story and all of that. You guys thank you so much for doing the Toe Business Podcast. No, we're saying that it is not dead and that you are going to call Brad McIntosh and perhaps record another one and post it.
It's like the Beatles getting back together.
Maybe he'll hear this and call me. I don't know, but
it's
we'll
possible.
See.
Anything's possible.
Can I mention my new possible project?
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
So I've recorded a couple video shows reviewing tow company reviews and having a little bit of fun with it, but I need some help. I need people to send me whatever great reviews they can find. I don't care if they're funny. I don't care if they're mean. Illiteracy sticks out to me a lot, when people just can't spell and punctuate or it's all caps or whatever. But I like picking them apart because my gosh, when I see them from my side, you start reading these reviews and you're like, wait, where were these people? This never happened. All these crazy things that happened in our release window, and we did this and we did that. It never happened. We've got video and audio recording everywhere in the office. And this stuff never, and that's one of my favorite replies to a review is, well, according to our phone recordings and our video, and this never happened. And those people never respond to those. And I find that very telling. Yeah, we're evil. Towers are evil. We all know that. And we're all trying to steal people's cars. I've never been able to figure that one out. Why would I want your junk car? You don't even want it. You're not picking it up. Why do I want it? But anyhow, so yeah.
Many years ago, I was a defendant representing a company I worked for on the People's Court. And the
video
judge,
or it didn't happen. Does this live on YouTube somewhere that I need to find this?
It exists. It exists. There is
Stop.
evidence. So if you can go seek that out, I was accused.
I'm hearing the People's Court theme in my ear right now.
Exactly. This was many years ago. So it was Judge Christina Milian, and I was interviewed by what's the TMZ guy, Harvey something or other, whatever, not important. Sure. But the judge was harping on and we had done everything legitimate. This customer just didn't want to pay for the release of their vehicle, so they had sued us, and People's Court came to it's essentially a mediation, right? So we used that as a mediator, and we won. But the judge was very much in that same vein of all towers are they're inherently bad people. They're out to do this, they're out to do that, and the post court interview, one line is all I said is, remember that when you're stuck on the side of the road and you need help.
That's it.
Perfect. And how nice to walk into a courtroom and be hit by bias like that by a judge, right?
Well, I mean, they do it to try and get a rise out of you, so you can get loud, and then it works on TV and plays well, and they can use it for commercials and everything else like that. That's the whole television shtick. But
yeah, you're not the first tower on there,
and I'm sure I wasn't the last either.
There was a guy many years ago, probably 10, 12, 15 years ago.
If you are going to say what's in my brain right now, go for it. I know what you're going to say.
Out of Denver, who always stayed in trouble?
No, I don't know that one.
Oh, okay.
No, there is a fantastic one. We should post the link with his permission, where Car Store in Florida, in Orlando, Mr. Garrett Poquette was on People's Court, and it was an impound situation, and he came with an incredible amount of detailed records, and of course won the case.
Of course,
but it was nonetheless entertaining. And I tell Garrett that he should have been an attorney with how he clearly articulated every single piece of everything, and impressive. That lives out there.
Yeah, speaks
all
well.
you guys that are famous.
Jeff, clearly you've got some great stories that you and Brad brought together over the years, and you've both told some really funny ones and some really heartwarming ones too. But what inspired you guys to get together and make that happen originally? How did you guys even connect? I mean, you're in Georgia, he's in Ohio. How did you guys connect and make this happen?
So the best we ever explained it to each other was kind of we were very aware of each other already. We knew who each other was. We never hung out, never anything like that. But we at least within the industry knew who each other was. And during a couple back around Sandy and stuff like that, Brad would help put together the storm response with the towers, and so he started sending me emails every once in a while that said, "Hey, got any trucks you want to run up to New Jersey or wherever the mess was happening?" And there's always no, thank you. We got enough stuff going on here. We don't. That's not a good fit for us. And so I'm driving to Vermont, and I get an email that pops up, and it says it's from Brad McIntosh. There was just a big storm somewhere, so I just assumed that's what it was. He was trying once again to get us to send trucks, and so I just kind of blew it off. I'm on vacation. On the way home, I see. I actually stopped and read it, and it was like, "Hey, been listening to your show," because I was doing Above the Hook, a solo towing podcast, and it was actually starting to get a little bit of traction. He says, "I've been listening to that, and I was wondering, I want to do a podcast, and I've got this. He had an entire package, tow business package, logos, intros, all sorts of stuff already produced, but didn't really know how to make the recording and the show happen. So he said, well, you obviously can already do that. Let's get together." And this is where the stories, both our stories kind of go in different directions. He says my initial reaction was not no, but hell no, not doing it all by myself. And my side is, let me think about it on my way home from Vermont. And by the time I got home, I thought about it. I said, man, this could be fun. He'd kind of teased me with the logos and stuff like that. I saw what he had, and that started it. And gosh, I think 150. I think we're right at 150 shows in 6.5 years. So
Wow.
we had a weird schedule. We did every other week for like, I think 7 shows, and then took like a month off and then did it again. So we kind of had it set up with seasons, and that allowed us to take breaks. And I think that's part of why it did last so long, was we had those breaks kind of built in.
I know I was always looking forward to the next one. I was always hungry
Yes.
for more, and I wish you guys were out, twice a week, but that's
My
just me.
notifications were turned on, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. So there are going to be people listening to this that have said to me out loud, I want to have a podcast. We're going to do a podcast. Jeff, for someone as seasoned as you, what advice can you give to those folks out there that genuinely have a great, shtick and content to give? What advice can you give them that want to do a podcast?
I always harp on sound quality. You got to get the sound quality right. If you can't afford great equipment, that makes a difference, but you can do a lot of little things. You can record in a closet. Make sure you have carpeting in the room. The smaller the room, the more sound deadening curtains, whatever, it all helps. So that's the big one, because I could listen to a show with great content, and if somebody's highs are peaking and it's crackling, it just drives me nuts. Tinniness drives me nuts. What I describe as empty sound. There's just no boom when there needs to be a boom. I can't listen to that stuff. So yeah. The other thing is, don't try to do too much, right?
Yes.
It's got to stay fun. It's got to stay relevant. And sometimes you need a few weeks in between shows to find something good to talk about again, which is part of why we did the every other week schedule of that, just to hopefully get some fresh stuff in the news about towing that we could talk about. So yeah, don't overdo it. I'm going to do 3 a week and this and that. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. When you hear podcasts that come out like twice a week, 3 times a week, they've got a whole team behind them, right? They're sitting down, they're doing that recording. Somebody else is handling everything else. When you're starting out by yourself and you've got to do the editing yourself and the posting and all that stuff, you've got to come up with the content to begin with. To do that all with just 1 or 2 people, like Brad and I did, it's difficult. So just don't burn yourself out. You're going to set yourself up for disaster if you try to do too fast.
Wise words.
Yeah, I mean, we've got an incredible team here, behind us, and Shelli and I have always had some great people behind our podcast. We basically show up and hit record, and that's the extent of it. Beyond that, I don't know if I could do a regular production and manage that all myself. It really is. It's a lot of work.
You couldn't do it. No.
Thanks.
Nope.
Appreciate the vote of confidence. Thank you, Shelli.
You wouldn't want to, but yeah.
No, I absolutely would have no interest in doing this if we didn't have an excellent team behind us. So shout out to everybody behind the scenes that makes this happen and actually brings this to life.
That's one of the goals. That's kind of the way I've formatted the new show that I've recorded. No editing, right? No content editing. All I will do is whatever review I'm talking about, I have a screenshot that I'll throw up on the screen when I start talking about it. And then that goes up into the corner while I continue to talk about it. But as far as for length or content or anything, no, I'm just hitting record and just doing it now. Post recording, I add the graphics in there, and that's it. So nice and easy. If I talk for 20 minutes, it takes me maybe 20 minutes to finish the show and put it up on YouTube. The 2 shows, I did like a quick proof of concept type of show, sent it to someone in the industry that I knew would give me the brutal truth, right? Their opinion of it. And they liked it. I said, all right, maybe this is worth doing. So I've got 2 out there. I've done this with every show I've done by myself. I like to create a few shows first. So when you do put it out there, you've got something more for people to listen to. They're not listening to one show and then you have to hope they come back in 2 weeks to listen to the next one. Right?
Sure.
So I'd like to give them a little block of shows. So that's what I'm working on right now. They're on YouTube, but they're unlisted. I can go watch them, but nobody else can. So I'm just trying to find my sea legs with that new show.
I love it.
We'll have to get a link to that and drop it here for our folks to pop over and check that out too.
How did you find the time, especially in the early years? How did you find the time to do this? Carve it out.
I just put it on my calendar like any other meeting and just treated it like a bi-weekly meeting with Brad. And it worked. It was funny because I started out when I was doing Above the Hook, there was no video, and I just had a big boom arm attached to my island in my kitchen, and I just started talking. now I've actually got a nice little studio here that we built out, and it's comfortable, and it makes it a lot easier to do things. I was even doing it from my my office for a little while. That was very disrupting. I found just too much going on. So
Yeah.
I found it was much better to build a little studio at the house and go from there.
Let's call it the Muscle Shoals of the towing industry.
No,
Everyone knows that reference, yes? Okay, that was in Alabama, but you're in Georgia, so it's where the magic happens over there. We're really looking forward to what you have in the hopper, Mr. Paquette, for sure.
Jeff,
Now
you just said something.
Now I can't back out, right?
That's right.
That's
We're
it, you're
holding you
committed.
accountable. Yes.
I talked about it.
It's gonna happen.
On video, so now I'm stuck doing it. But yeah, I think it'll be a lot better. I think I'll feel more excited about it and passionate about it once I get some interaction, right? For me to go out and find great reviews worth talking about, it's very time consuming. But I know there's a ton of people listening to this that probably already have a review in their mind, or even a review for their own company. Like I'll do some negative reviews for my company because I can disprove them, and that's fun, right? So I don't just go after other things, and I leave the whoever left the review, I leave their name in the screenshot, but I cross out the tower. I'm just
Okay.
I don't think there's any benefit to drawing attention to these towers, because some of them know how to respond to reviews and some of them clearly don't. And then you got the people that just don't respond, and that's not good either. So just trying to shine a little light on reviews and how awful they are, and they're just generally not good for the industry. Because who's going to write a review? The person that's pissed off that they had to pay for their vehicle impound after a crash or DUI or anything like that. Those are the people that are fighting mad and they want to go and say all sorts of bad stuff about a tower. You're not, unless you're using a kind of like a review generation service. There's a few of them out there now. Unless you're using one of those, you're in impounding, law enforcement, PPI, pretty good chance you're going to get a lot of negative reviews.
I mean, when you look at any industry, right, negative reviews people are more apt to complain than they are to compliment. But I think our industry is a little bit different than, say, a restaurant, because if you go in and have an incredible experience and you have a great meal and the wait staff is excellent, there's a sort of like mentality, especially in the U.S., right? There's a mentality of like, all right, we know wait staff are a little, they're underpaid, and so the ability to recognize people in that world seems to be, pretty common. And the further away you get from that, and the closer you get to more service industry, I'm sure it's a common thing amongst plumbers and other people that need to show up in an emergency way, right? And there is a certain negativity that comes with it. It's the loud 20%, right? The people who feel like they had a terrible experience, they want to go and complain. The 80-90% of people that show up know they were wrong, or just know what they need to do to get their car out, or they know they parked in the wrong space, or they got into an accident and they're just relieved that they're okay and whatever else. Those people don't care to write a review unless you're actually pushing to write a review.
I just had a thought. I wonder if there are any interesting reviews of towing companies out there from our friend Anthony Graham. I wonder if that's the case.
You mean Jeff's alter ego?
Jeff's alter ego, Mr. Anthony Graham.
Anthony
Graham, if you're listening here.
I think he's mad at me.
Is he?
So my Facebook, we were out, our owners group met out in Concan, Texas. And
yes.
We
home of the Jimenez family.
Yeah, you got it.
That's right.
We're out in Concan, Texas, coming back from our owners group meeting, and I go to open up Facebook, and it says your account has been deleted, and there is no option to ask why. There's no reasoning given. All it says is something along the lines of, your offense was so bad, we're not even giving you a chance to appeal.
Wow.
And I had not put anything on there. I hadn't done anything. I was just, and I said, you know what? I don't even care. My Facebook is gone and I don't even care. So I probably wouldn't be on Facebook other than to be able to have some admin control over our Facebook page and stuff like that, So a couple weeks go by, I end up making another account just so I can access the business pages. And a couple weeks later, I get something from Anthony, and it's, I guess you don't want to talk to me. I guess we're friends. I just started reading it. I went, oh God, I can't do this. So I never even finished reading it. But Anthony, I still love you. but I wasn't
So
interested in that message.
on the subject of Facebook, you guys built an incredible community over there in the tow business group.
Yes.
It's a lot different than what really existed prior to that out there. You know, a lot of the Facebook groups and a lot of the chatter out there is a lot of noise and, you know, a lot of just disgruntled operators who may or may not like their job or, you know, whatever the case may be. But you guys have really put something a little bit different together. And I think it also may have been happenstance, maybe drove this a little bit, but I think it really came alongside some changes in the industry, right? It was around the time ERSCA was forming and around the time you know, training was really starting to be looked at a little bit differently, and some of these conversations with governments and other things around the industry were, you know, starting to change and starting to take shape there. How much of that do you think was driven by the community, and how much of that do you think drove the
So to begin with, we were very deliberate. Like, we did not want to be anything like the other towing pages that were out there for the most part. It just, sometimes when I look at some of those pages, I look at it and put myself in the seat of someone outside the industry, and I just find some of the posts and the comments to just be embarrassing.
Yes.
Embarrassing towers everywhere.
Yes.
So we were very deliberate. We were going to maintain a lot of control over what could be posted, what couldn't. And I don't think it was really anything we did. I think it was the people on the page. I think they saw it was different, and it was somewhere where they could ask honest questions. We did our best to post any major event for a towing association. We used to really push for them to let us know when they had meetings coming up so we could post and stuff like that. That never really materialized, but I did a lot of post sharing. If I saw like the Vermont Towing Association was posting their heavy duty class that they did a while back, you know, I'd make sure I posted that on our page and tried to make it just a one-stop shop for positive towing stuff, right?
Love it.
Whether it's questions, news, whatever. And Brad and I tag teamed that thing and just tried to keep it going in the right direction and keep it positive.
No small feat for sure. So I can only imagine.
I look, even just as somebody who, you know, came about when I've already moved into, you know, this world of being a vendor to the industry and no longer being a tower. But I think even just for us and for Shelli and myself and other people that, you know, are still heavily involved in day to day of the industry, I think it's become a great place for everybody to communicate. And I always refer to it as where the adults are having the conversation. It's the grown-ups table, I think, for much of the industry.
Yeah, another thing we did, we really don't allow people to come on there and try to sell their products. That's not what it's there for. It's us to have discussions about the industry, anything from safety to training to actually running the business itself. You know, we try to keep it going down that nice, tight, narrow path, and I feel we've done a pretty good job with it.
You have.
Yeah, it's a great space, and if you're not in there, it's the Tow Business group on Facebook.
So there's Tow Business Podcast page, but the group where these discussions and sharing of information occurs, that's just Tow Business. That's the Tow Business group, no podcast on the end of it.
You know, from way back in the day, from where we had the original Tow 411 forum, we've just really struggled to come about to have another one as positive, and I think that you guys have done an excellent job.
Thank you.
You betcha.
All deliberate, right? Brad and I really just laid out a good game plan right from the start. We knew if it lasted 5 years, this is, you know, in 5 years we'll be here talking about this type of thing. You know, where the struggle ended up being towards the end was, believe it or not, towing news got pretty slow. There just wasn't things to talk about every 2 weeks. So either way, we were going to take a break or end it. And I'm not sure either one of us knows which way we chose to go. So, like I said, I can't in my head sit here and feel like the show's over. So.
Well, I think we're all excited for the possibility of a comeback. Maybe we can make it happen. Brad, if you're listening.
Yeah.
So we'll hang out. That would be amazing for sure.
Jeff, you mentioned something a little while ago, really interesting to me. You said you would schedule the podcast as another meeting on your calendar, and that would just make it easy for you. Shelli, you could probably attest to this a little bit too, but you know, I sit in with our sales teams and our implementation teams, and you know, the majority of our teams around the organization here, and it's hard to nail a tower down to a meeting. right? And even if it's just as simple as like, hey, I've got this problem, I want to show you what's going on here, so I can, we can try and get it fixed. Great, I'll, let's hop on 11:30 on Thursday morning, and then at 11:28, it's our saying, hey, sorry, I'm too busy and I can't get on that today. So, how are you able to maintain that calendar as rigid as it sounds like you're able to, even for a podcast?
I just believe in making a plan and sticking to it, right? I just put it in my head. That's a meeting I have to be at that time. I'm never late, right? If I'm late, it's because I got run over by a truck on the way to the meeting. It's I'm a 10-minute early guy, and I don't know. I just try and.
I guess to expand on that question, you're obviously a successful business owner in this industry. How have you found the ability to carve out time and not get bogged down with, hey, there's a problem. Hey, I have to run out on a job. I have to go out on a recovery, or my dispatcher needs help and the office is flooding and whatever. How have you built your business so that you've essentially found the ability to step back and say, I am the owner of this business. I am going to take meetings when I have to take meetings and not get bogged down by problems?
Because there will always be something. There will always be something.
And there are occasionally there's something I have to attend. But it's the team. It's the people you put around you, that my first step was getting out of a truck. I think probably around 2018, 2019. Okay. I was no longer the guy rushing out in the middle of the night to grab the rotator and head to a wreck. I finally had the confidence in everybody. Everybody was trained well. Everybody understood what the expectations were during these events. And now they handle it. I believe in giving your team the ability to make their own decision. All right. So my personal policy is make your own decisions, right? But use information. Don't just pop off with an idea. Gather your information, figure out what's going on, and react to it the best you can. And if you didn't handle it the best way possible, in my opinion, as the owner, we'll talk about it. But nobody's going to get in trouble. Nobody's going to get yelled at. And now next time, now they learn, okay, now moving forward, they know what they expect. So really the first step was getting out of the truck and not being yanked in 5 different directions, right? Once I pretty much moved into the office full time, that was the first step. And then it was really just putting the right people in place around me in the office. And now they know what I expect and they know how to handle it. And I almost never get after hours phone calls anymore from drivers or the office or anybody. They handle it, and the next morning we'll decide whether it was the best way to handle it, But
you've given them the tools, you've given them the confidence, and this process you've clearly outlined has created a management staff that are just super, super confident and you trust them. It's amazing.
Yeah. Why would anybody want to go through what we go through as towers for so many years and then you're still doing it when you're 65 and then you die? I don't, that's not what my life plan was ever. It was to get to this place, and I got here, and I'm pretty darn happy about it. So
I love that for you.
There's a quote I used to have up in an office somewhere: "Is either you run the day or the day runs you." And it seems like you've taken the ability to run your day and not let your day run you.
My sign says, "Don't come in here complaining unless you can also suggest a solution." And
love that. Yeah. That is a philosophy I've always had too. I love that.
And then the one on my door. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No,
I've
go
got
ahead.
another
The
one on my door.
Yeah.
If I'm not in here, neither are you. Stay out.
That's a good one too.
Both could be found as abrasive, but
No.
Understandable though. Jeff, you mentioned your 20 group a little bit earlier too. We spoke to Mike Porter a couple of months ago about how that came to be from his end and some of the things they're working on. But I know you guys you got your own different groups and everybody's got their own stuff going on. So tell us a little bit more about what that looks like for you and how you got involved in that.
Yeah.
So we were at one of the tow shows probably in 2016, 2017, and we heard about what we now refer to as Group 1. Right? Sounded like a good thing, but it didn't interest me nearly as much as it did my partner Bart here at Southside. He kind of latched onto it and wanted to run with it. He was like, I want a group. So he starts gathering people, talking to people, getting them to join the group. And that group pretty much became known as Group 2, right? It wasn't, it was people that we didn't even really know. I don't know. This was all happening like in my absence, right? I had nothing to do with getting the group started. Bart did. And he just found a good group of people from all over the country. You know, we have geographical restrictions on who can join the group and stuff like that. And he did a really good job of getting that thing kicked off. And we hired Bert King to kind of administer the group for us. And it's worked out great. And we've had some changes. We've had a couple people that left. We had a couple people ask to leave, and we've got a bunch of new people because we did a show with Bert talking about the group probably a year ago, probably about this time last year. And my gosh, man, he got so much feedback. He had so many people contacting him that he actually started another group. So Bert's running 2 groups now. So if you're interested, track down Bert King. He'll find a spot for you. And Mike Porter's got his groups too. So they both do great. And it is the amount of things you can learn from someone doing the exact same thing you're doing, but in another region is crazy. Like our first few meetings we had, we came away with so many great ideas on how to run things and just improve the entire structure of the business. We get so much out of those group meetings. So much that like I've even gotten in a plane and flown to Sacramento. I've gotten in a plane and, gone to Portland. That's things I don't normally do. I'm not a plane guy, but I'll get on a plane to go to an owners group.
I love that. And, just to kind of go a little bit deeper in that, I know that you folks, like you mentioned, it is a peer group. This is an owners group. You're discussing best practices and what's working for you in a variety of regions, but talk a little bit more about the financial side of things and how you do a deep dive in everyone's financials.
So it's funny. That's probably where you get the largest benefit to being in the group.
Mm-hmm.
It's also what stands in a lot of people's way from joining the group. Like we've approached people, and when you start talking about sharing financials, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not sharing. Well, come on. What are you going to learn? Like everything's compared on a percentage basis. So percentage of revenue, everything's broken down. So it doesn't matter if you're a $1 million a year company or a $10 million. It's all compared on equal ground, right? And what are you going to learn? What can someone steal from you just by knowing what you spend on payroll or what you spend on health insurance, or that's the information you're sharing. And I don't understand what the concern is. Like nothing gets discussed outside the group, right? I guess if you don't trust everybody in the group enough to share your numbers, you probably shouldn't be in the group anyhow. But yeah, that stands in a lot of people's ways, but it's great because once you break everything down as percentages of revenue, you can see like 30% for payroll is 30% of payroll, no matter how big or how small you are. So it's good. And to get the perspectives from the smaller companies, the companies smaller than you in the group and the companies larger than you in your group, it's just fantastic. The sharing of information is something you're probably not going to get anywhere else. And we treat it as if we're one large board and we're each other's board members, right?
I love it.
When we have a concern, something's going downhill. A segment of another member's business is starting to kind of falter a little bit. To have like 8 or 10 other people in the room that say, "Hey, I went through the same thing 3 years ago, and this is how I fixed it." It's just amazing, and everybody has everybody else's best interest at heart, and it's obvious, it's clear. I mean, we are a tight knit group, and
I love it.
Sounds like it.
I mean, and even going as deep as, hey, this commercial account, this house account that I thought would give me this amount of profit margin, etc., has clearly been eroded, and I am not only not making money, I'm losing money, and having the accountability of a team to say, you need to let that piece of the business go. You thought, but like as an owner, you've worked so hard for it. You don't want to let it go, but then you have your peers saying, hey, you got to let this go.
That happens. That happens a lot.
I love that.
I've been in situations where I knew the answer. Like I knew I needed to walk away from a customer, but you're like, oh my God, I don't want to walk away. And then you've got all these people saying, dude, that's costing you money. Stop it. Cut them off.
Yes.
Like, and it's weird, right? Because when you've been doing this for so long and you've worked with some of these customers for years and years, the thought of losing them or actually stop servicing them by your choice, that's a hard one to make. But when you have these peers that you trust and they know your business as well as these people in the group do, when they start telling you need to walk away, all right, that's what I needed. I needed that reassurance to walk away. I already knew it. I just couldn't do it in my head. And once you hear it from all those people,
the brain remembers a time in the beginning, in the first 2 years, where it was highly lucrative and profitable. And when there is an economic shift that you ignore and you just keep in the motion of maintaining this commercial account, you forget that you're not making money because you're just in the motion of moving the trucks and moving things around.
Yeah.
And I love that. I mean, it is the accountability that we all need. And that's how I define a very good friend. A very good friend is not someone to come alongside me and just tell me everything in my life is perfect. A true friend like Dennis McGowan will be like, stop that. You need to stop that. Don't do that. And that's true friendship.
I feel like we do that like twice a week.
Twice a day, Dennis. What are you talking about?
Do want to pause here, speaking of commercial, I'm going to pause here briefly just to pay the bills, so to speak, but want to remind everyone that this episode is brought to you by Atura. Atura provides today's towing and recovery companies with tomorrow's technology so they can modernize operations, scale business, and deliver exceptional customer experiences to their communities. With towing management software, digital dispatch, GPS fleet tracking, lean search and notification, payment processing, impound management, and auction solutions, Atura's technology brings speed, efficiency, and data-driven insights to daily operations, helping you maximize your profitability and business growth. Learn more at atura.com.
That was fantastic.
I know, I might have a future in radio.
I think you should do it.
Speaking of the future, one thing we like to talk about here a lot is future, right? We are a future-driven company. We are building technology for the future. So we like to talk about some of that technology and what's moving us forward. And Jeff, from things that I've heard over the years from you and I've discussed and, things I've heard on the podcast and everything else, it sounds like, Southside is a pretty technology-driven operation. I know you guys use Slack in your day-to-day, and you've got company emails, and way more than I think the average tower is using today. So, tell us a little bit more about what problems those pieces of technology are solving, and how you got there today.
Can I interject here and have a confession real quick? One of your last episodes, Jeff, you talked about the use of artificial intelligence, AI, and when I saw that come up through my notifications, I sat back and I thought, what do these guys know about AI? I did. I was like, what does Jeff and Brad know about AI? I listened to that. Jeff, I was blown away. We're going to talk about AI, but holy cow, you are not only using it, you highly impressed me with that. And I can't wait to talk about that a little bit more. So there's my confession for this one. Should I have a confession for every episode going forward, Dennis? There would be plenty of confessions like that, I promise you.
I don't know if this is that kind of show.
Do we have enough time? Fine.
I don't know if this is that kind of show. This is a family show.
Fine.
So yeah, as far as the technology and kind of where that comes from with me, I'm a closet nerd, right? I love anything.
I don't think there's anything.
I don't think it's in the closet. There's nothing
think
in the closet, Jeff. Are you kidding?
I'm the same way. I don't feel bad.
But no, my dad worked for IBM. So growing up, we were the first people in the neighborhood, anywhere I knew of, school kids I went with, to have a PC in the house. And I couldn't just play a game, a text-based adventure game, I couldn't just do that. I was opening the thing up when Dad wasn't around because those were very expensive back then, right? I'd open it up, see what's inside, see how it works, and then actually got into a little bit of basic programming because now I didn't want to play the text game. I wanted to build one. So I actually probably 12 years old, built a fully working adventure game. And it just kept going from there, right? So I grew up with a dad who always had to have the latest tech. Anything that came out, he had to have it, right? And I didn't fall far from the tree. So I've got to have that. And then, we were the first ones I know of that went with the GPS tracking. We were the first ones around here I know of that went paperless with our invoicing and everything. And my gosh, I think about when I started at Southside, calls were still being taken and dispatched out of notebooks. There was every week, each dispatcher started a new notebook. And then at the end of that week, that notebook, no matter how much of it was used, was put in a banker's box.
Dennis is triggered right now.
I am very triggered right now.
I see it on your face.
Post-it notes stuck everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
I've been to Mike's to see where you sat. So yeah.
That's rough, right? So just the efficiency, the efficiency you gain through this. But AI, man, I'm loving it. I even created a spa water analyzer for my hot tub, right? So I dipped a little.
Wait, what?
I put this thing in, right? I'll take
This
my
is
test strip.
best part of my day right now.
I've got this little I forget what they call it, photogrammeter or something like that,
Sure.
that reads the test strip, the colors on it. So
Yeah.
you get accurate colors, right? So then I take a picture of the readout on the digital machine, and then I just feed it into the spa water analyzer. It knows my spa, what type of chemicals I use, all this stuff, and it'll throw out custom plans like, hey, add a teaspoon of this, right? And it just has made keeping like hot tub water pristine so much easier, right? But some of the other things we've got, can I run down a little list of
I am looking forward to this.
Yeah, we'd love to
And
hear
so
what you guys are
as you
using.
do, as you do, talk about how long did it take to train the agent? What was the process to do it?
So
Not agent, but to train the GPT.
So probably the our tow dispatcher advisor probably took the longest because I put in every spec of every one of our trucks, backed that up by telling it to go out on the web and find additional information. It knows all of our rates. It knows about our DOT brakes. It knows everything. So like we can say, hey, I've got to tow a 30,000 pound forklift from Atlanta to Cincinnati. I need a quote. It knows the hourly rates. It knows how far we can drive before having to take a break. It knows how long the break's got to be. And it spits out this really great quote with everything broken down in it. And it takes seconds. Once you have the basic info of that tow, right? So another thing you can do is, and I did this mainly to help out with newer dispatchers coming on, you could put in there, hey, I've got a loaded dump truck overturned in a ravine. What should I send? It'll ask you, is it in the roadway? Is it out of the road? Do you anticipate having to shut down a lane and use traffic control? If so, you need to send the response van. It knows by the weight you put in, like, hey, it's a loaded dump truck. They're going to say, hey, bring 2 heavies out for that. So it knows if there's a lift, like if there's a rotator lift, I have a line in the sand. Like once you go past a certain weight, it knows to suggest 2 rotators out on that job. So it just took a lot of the guesswork out of it. That for me, that probably took 2 or 3 weeks to train.
Wow.
Well, my gosh.
But the return on that must be incredible.
You start showing it to the dispatcher and they're like, oh my gosh, everything I need to know. So it's so much, you just ask for rate for this and it knows what our hourly rate is. And it's just a quick way versus going into our dispatch system. No offense, but you go in there, you're dispatching. You don't want to go over here and start digging for stuff. So if they have the GPT screen already open, they can just on the fly while they're on the phone, they can enter stuff in and ask it questions.
Wow.
So it knows everything. It knows the capacities of each truck's underlifts, the booms, the cables,
the bed.
It knows everything.
Winch
Is it for
capacities.
sale?
Oh, I was going to say, how do they get hold of you? And do you want to sell it? Because that's real.
I don't know how to do that, right? I know like the plan I'm on, lets me build everything for our workspace. I don't know I haven't looked into taking it outside of our workspace yet, but it's probably not a bad idea.
Well, we'll have to talk about that offline.
We have people that want it. So
look, can I mention a couple others?
Sure.
Go. Yeah.
I have a recovery report summarizer, right? So we have a secret web page, a form on a web page that my guys, when they go out on a wreck, and this is another thing that lets me detach a little bit from the field. They go to this when they finish a wreck, each guy goes to this secret web page on our site and fills out a recovery report. Their times, equipment used, special equipment. It asks all the important information. Well, I just take every report from Gmail and feed it into the recovery report summarizer, and it spits out everything. Detailed breakdown of times, equipment used, gives a whole summary report, like the narrative. It's the whole thing out. It takes seconds. And now my invoicing has improved because of that. We've got I've got a handbook generator that actually knows every January 1st to go out and look to see if any employment laws, any labor laws have changed. And it'll tell me, hey, you better watch out. What was in last year's handbook, you might want to update it because this happened in your state. So to set it to automatically research that every January 1st, I thought that was really good. We've got a policy writer. So every time I think of a policy, so the bigger you get and your staff gets larger, you really got to start putting some policies on paper. And I say paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And get that stuff nailed down. And we've even I just did a one that just built out every position in the company. It accounted for growth, positions we may need to add in the near future. And it spit out for each position a job description, a social media post. So everything in that handbook right now, anything I need to do with that position, it's right there, including employment offers for that specific position. I always do that by email. I always make offers by email so we can't get off track, right? What they agreed to come work here, what I agreed to do for them when they come. I like all that in writing, and that GPT helps me with that now. But
Wow.
my next project, and I've started working on it, is building a GPT that'll do all of our owners group work for us as far as the reporting the numbers and everything. I'm going to have it just so we can pull the reports, throw it into the GPT, and it'll spit out all the information Bert needs for the comparison with everybody. But I did I think my review responder, right? I just copy and paste a review, positive or negative. It detects the tone and then knows how I want to respond. And I've got it trained to use different tones for different types of responses. That one's good. I like that one. It just makes it a lot easier. If you get a few reviews over the weekend, you can just knock them out Monday morning and respond to them. So yeah, just stuff like that. Friday reports.
Pretty fascinating.
I've got a operations assistant, and she provides us reports every Friday morning, and she just pulls reports out of Otora and dumps them into this thing, and it spits out this nice little package that gives us this weekly snapshot of the business, how everything's doing, and that's all fed out of the Otora reports in TOPS.
Incredible. So do you actually use ChatGPT, or is there another AI platform that you use?
I use OpenAI ChatGPT. I think it was just the first one I think the first I heard of these things being available now a couple of years ago was on Lex Friedman's podcast. I don't know if you know who he is. He's like a computer engineer guy that very Joe Roganish type of format, 3-4 hour long shows with some really interesting people. And he has a lot of people on talking about AI. And that just kind of sparked my interest. I was like, what is this stuff? What are they talking about? And I went out, started nosing around, and they mainly talked about ChatGPT. So that's what I went with. I'm dipping into Gemini a little bit now because it's just integrated better with Gmail and stuff like that. One of the best things in the world is, God, I got to find an email from a year and a half ago. Where is that? And you just throw in a couple keywords, and that thing just rips apart your Gmail and finds that thing for you.
That's incredible, because I can never find an email that I'm looking for ever.
It is funny. One day I shared my screen and Brad, we were recording a show, and Brad was like, "Oh my God, I just saw that you had 37,000 emails in your inbox," and it's giving me the creeps. I can't even think about having it. I used to be the guy that cleaned them out every day, and then I started finding out that, boy, I need stuff. I need to be able to reference these emails a year and a half later. So I don't delete any emails anymore, and Gmail makes that very, very easy to handle now, especially with Gemini being added to it.
So being one of the arguably the most tech forward person in the industry that I'm aware of, at least, where do you see this industry 5-10 years from now as far as technology goes? And what exists today that might be coming down the pipeline, and what doesn't exist today that you think will in the next few years? Are we talking autonomous tow trucks?
I think a lot of the call taking will be AI. I think it'll take a lot longer for that to cross over into the actual dispatching end of it. But we already see these services. I've demoed several of them. One of them was really close to something I would trust to actually implement. It's not quite there yet, but they're the closest ones I've seen. And I really liked the demos because that AI assistant on the other end, they don't get distracted by the other phone ringing. They know what questions to ask every time. Is just, I liked it. I liked it when they set one up for us to demo and gave me the phone number to it. Said, "Hey, call it up. Act like you're a customer." And I liked the interaction. It was just clean and direct, no small talk. AI is not going to sit there and talk about your dog running down the road or anything like that. So it's just good. It's efficient. And I know the other side of that is people saying, people are going to lose their jobs. No, they're not. I don't know. You're still going to need human people there to make decisions. And when things go off track, a call goes off track, a human is always going to handle that better, I think, if they're properly trained. So yeah, I want to see more technology for roadside safety, I know somebody's got to be working on something. We know what's out there. And what we have right now has improved things greatly, for roadside safety. And when you start installing things that are for safety in your trucks, or you start providing better PPE for your staff, get rid of the cheap old hard hat and go with the good modern helmet with the strap and everything. I mean,
with the
I
radio
love
built
it
in.
when
Can
you
we
start
plug Ron's stuff here?
Yeah, Ron Pullen. Jeff, for folks that don't know, what is PPE?
personal protective equipment.
There you go.
Did I get that right?
Fantastic. You
Um,
did.
I throw out
Hard
PPE
hats.
so often. You
Yeah,
made me
hard
think.
hats, vests, anything that's going to keep you safe while you're on the roadway. A lot of it is OSHA compliance.
Yeah. So, but what I see is when you don't do when you go beyond providing the bare minimum, your employees start to see that, and I think they're really appreciative of it. It tells them you care, So
It also creates the mindset of safety in your employees.
is as long as you keep reinforcing it. Can't hand them something and say this is how it's used, and that's a new policy. We had a new piece of equipment and we require its use. Now that's where the next policy gets read. And then we've gotten really good about creating policies and making sure everybody signs off on it, and creating a packet with AI that makes sure we don't miss anything when we onboard somebody. Because the most important policies you have are, seatbelt, no speeding, drug testing, things like that. They're the most important policies you've got, keeping everybody safe. So yeah, and I hope we see big strides with that on the side of the road. We just had someone here hit in Atlanta again, I think 2 nights ago. I don't know why, but Georgia over the past 5-6 years, we've had a few, and
That's tough.
it's not good. We've got to stop that, and I got to believe it's going to be a technology based solution to stop these responder deaths and these struck bys. So that's what I'm hoping for.
How
Somebody's
about
got
truck technology? I know beyond just safety, right? And Shelli, chime in here too, because you've got a ton of experience in manufacturing, sales, equipment. What do you guys see of the future? I know we've got the Raptor controls are starting to get more popular, and you're seeing real live scale readouts on the trucks. Are you guys seeing anything of that nature starting to really take shape, or anything else kind of future state that's coming down the pipeline?
I really don't, but something when I started being trained on heavies and specifically recovery work, the guy that was training me, he said to me, he says, when you look at a casualty, imagine you could just reach out and grab it with your hands and make it do what you want it to do.
That's
right?
good.
And I've always had that in my head. And then I just use the truck as an extension of my weak little arms, to get the job done.
Right.
I think it would be pretty damn awesome to have some sort of headset with maybe a heads up display on it, where all your numbers, everything from that Raptor remote, that load sensing system is right there. Because you're watching this, you don't want to keep up, down, up, down, up, down. I would like to see something like that. Just to gain more control, kind of personal control over your equipment. I would love to see something like that.
So manufacturers out there, if you're listening.
Yeah. And if you make $1 billion off of it, come see me. We need to talk. I need a slice of that. But yeah, I think anything to allow you to keep your eyes on the casualty and what you're doing would be very helpful. And I'd like to see that.
My hope is as we move into the future and our cars the motoring public becomes even more connected. We now have a vehicle that is essentially a computer inside of 4 wheels and a body, and that's what's going down the road. And the connectivity is only going to get stronger and better. And I would just love for that connectivity to be connected to our tow trucks also, so we can predictive analytics for traffic flows for everything.
Autonomous tow trucks towing autonomous vehicles off the road.
Sounds
there you
great.
go. Let's go. You heard it here first.
I don't know. I mean, if they can do this lane departure warning that nudges you back into your lane, why can't they extend that to a tow trucks on the side of the road?
Exactly.
And make that car start nudging somebody over, or maybe apply the brakes a little bit. I don't think that's a lot. I don't think that's very far out of what they can do already. I think it's pretty close. Someone just has to get the idea and put it to use, apply it.
Beyond tow trucks too, right? Emergency vehicles of all sorts, right? We know,
Sure.
and we are obviously, this industry is probably the worst when it comes to feeling the brunt of that. But everybody that works on the side of the road, whether it be police, fire, EMS, towing, construction, everything else, these people are at risk every single day. So, anything that even saves a single life is valuable, right? What's the price of a life?
Yeah. It's wild how much work zone safety changes state to state. And I think we really
Yes.
need to come up with a federal standard, right? In Georgia, you're going to have a guy sitting on the tailgate of a pickup truck with a slow stop sign in his hand, and it may face the right direction or it may not,
Mhm.
You go to Pennsylvania like armors their work zones. They have concrete walls everywhere.
Oh.
They just let whatever lanes are still open because it's so well armored. They don't even drop the speed through their speed zones. It's just so strange. And then you get up to New York, Connecticut. They're so strict on their hands-free laws. And you go up through upstate New York, they don't even call the rest areas. Now they're texting stops. Hey,
Love
it can
that.
wait. There's a texting stop in 20 minutes. It can wait. Put your phone down.
Mhm.
Just to have that, in Connecticut where my sister lives, so strict, you lose your license. New York too. I think 3 cell phone violations in New York, you lose your license for a year, something like that.
Yeah, it's been like that since that law first came out, I believe.
Why don't we have that everywhere? Why isn't that make people start taking this stuff seriously? It drives me nuts. Put the phone down. Really, it takes one conversation with Cindy Itis with Flagman to realize
Yes.
everybody needs to put the phone down.
She's amazing.
She told me she puts it in her console. Like her phone isn't even accessible to her when she's in her car, and that's a great idea. Down here, they talk about strict hands-free enforcement. There is zero enforcement in Georgia. Zero. Every once in a while, a county will do like a little crackdown, but statewide, there is no enforcement of this law statewide. And again, that needs to be a national standard and it needs to be enforced. Don't make a law to keep people safe and then not enforce it, because now it's a slap in the face. You must not have really meant what you said, right? Your priority isn't safety by passing this law if you're not going to do anything to enforce it. So I think standardizing these laws nationwide would help, because really, like me going from Georgia to another state, I should know what all the rules are. I shouldn't have to rely on the sign when I drive across that state line to tell me what their law for hands. That should be nationwide. So I'd like to see a move in that direction.
Agree.
Agree.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I think we might be having a conversation with Cindy soon as well. Check out Flagman. She's doing some incredible stuff over there. We'll link to that as well here somewhere. But Jeff, we appreciate you taking the time and coming to hang out with us for a little bit today. I think I think we're all looking forward to what comes next, whether it be in the office, in the truck, safety wise, and you're clearly at the forefront. I always say that if I ever find myself back in the towing industry, it would always be at Southside, because you've got
Hey man, thank you.
you've got the coolest stuff going on.
Put him in the
Appreciate
rollback. Put him in the rollback, Jeff.
We've
Make
got
some
an
money.
opening. We've got an opening.
I might have to do it.
Let me have ChatGPT send you the job description we're looking
Please
for.
send it over. I'll have Claude respond to your ChatGPT, and we'll see if we can get them on the same page. But no, we
Love it.
appreciate you coming on, and we're looking forward to you and Brad, eventually getting back together and putting something together. And when you're ready, please let us know. We'd love to share that and put that out there too. But any final thoughts before we depart here for the afternoon?
No, this was great. I'd like to be on more podcasts if anybody's listening. I was on if you remember, one of our sponsors, Harbinger Marketing, they
Yes,
started
love them.
started a podcast, and I was a guest on their podcast about 2 months ago. So if you want to, if someone actually wants to hear more of me, go to Harbinger,
we would love it.
because that dealt specifically with marketing and running the business through that end of things. What the things we do with them and how. So I think it was a really good one if you're interested in learning more about marketing your towing company. That's a good show to listen to. And
Love it.
yeah, check it out. And hopefully I'll be on something else soon.
I love it. So we've got Florida, Vegas, and the Tow Summit coming up. Are we going to see you at any of those?
I don't think so.
Come
I think
on.
I'm kind
Good
of
for you. Well, you've
Cancel
been at
this
the
whole
Toe
thing.
Summit.
Cancel
You-
this recording.
been-
We're done.
We're done. No, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
blame you. I mean, you've been at the Toe Summit for how many years now?
every year.
Yeah.
Every year. Yeah.
Okay.
We were there the first year and have always gone. And it's just kind of sneaking up on me this time. I got a lot of other things going on. I've got some
That's okay.
like big lengthy trips coming up. So yeah, I'm just I decided to take a year off from toe shows. Of course I'll do Chattanooga. Unfortunately I missed it this past year. And that's something I've never done before. I've always gone since the wall was dedicated. I've been going every year, and this year I just could not make it this past one, so I'll be there this year.
We'll look
Looking
forward to seeing you.
out there. And like I said, thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate you taking your time. And for those that are just listening to us for the first time, hopefully we brought some toe business listeners over to the Toe Trend, and we'll be back next month with something exciting as well. And hopefully we'll see that Jeff Brad reunion real soon.
We love it. Question for you, Jeff. How do people find you? What's your email?
I don't know.
You don't know what your email is, I'm sure. I mean, how can they find you on socials or reach out to you if they have any questions for you, especially about the GPT things?
So really, probably it's still the easiest way for people is just message me on the Toe Business page.
Okay, perfect.
Message me through there. Jeff at toebusinesspodcast.com. That's still live. You can get me that way. But yeah, I'm easy to track down online, I believe.
Indeed.
Yeah, we'll throw some links up here with this as well, so reach out to you, and they can reach out to their 20 to learn more about 20 groups, and a lot of cool links I think we'll have for this one.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
All righty. See you.